Very much. Good evening. Thank you for organizing this conference. Anyway, for me, the main topic is I'm working for the Universal Peace Federation is peace. So even when I look at the media, the question is how does media serve peace, or how does it create problems for an atmosphere which makes peace more possible? I think, I heard from a journalist, a Portuguese guy who works in big national TV in Portugal. For him, the fundamental thing for journalism is truth, but truth he means fact. So he wants to know what are the facts. If he does a research on some kind of topic, because if you don't know the facts, you are somewhere. If you want to create news, you must know the facts and be sure. This is why in the old days, of course, the journalists went to the field if like there was a car accident or whatever, you know. But today, anyway, many journalists and newspapers don't have people to do this job, yeah. So generally, we can say that bad news are better than good news, because people, for reasons I don't know, they look for excitement, yeah. And of course, something bad is spontaneously more exciting because anyway, even we look ourselves for excuses that we are sometimes maybe not perfect. So if others are bad, we can also be at least a little bit bad, or we are still better than the really bad guys. Yeah. So my motto for working as a peace movement, also in our home pages and in our social media outlets, is to find good news. Means if I copy some news into my media outlets in the Facebook or wherever, is what we do, which should be anyway good if we work for peace, but also what other people do, and what is somehow, maybe if somebody reads it and gets interested by some headlines, it should be some good news, something which stimulates the good nature of the human being. Of course, sometimes, because we speak about media literacy, we hear some news like, let's say, Putin died. Yeah, imagine you see it somewhere in the internet. Yeah, immediately you, because it's very exciting, you know, because a big guy died, you can immediately spread it. I mean, this is extreme, yeah, but what happened? Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, died a few times last year, yeah, and you could read it, but it really never happened, or at least it didn't seem to happen. So we must check. For me, if I find such a news, I check it in some more established media. Then I know, yeah, maybe either they are slow or it's not true, yeah, so it's not really relevant. I think social media are a big chance for NGOs because they create possibilities to show a certain presence which you couldn't show without the social media. If you just would have mainstream news channels, I mean, they have limited capacity to show news, and also, so probably if you are not a real big guy, you are never in the news. But the social media created this kind of possibility, and I think as NGOs, we should use it. Another point, if we deal with some matter of, like, for example, political relevance, let's say Russia or China, for me, or Brazil, another one, or Africa, For me, if before I say too much, I try to study at least some aspect of history, because unless you understand the history, the involvement of nations like Europe and China, or Europe and Russia, Europe and Africa, Europe in, in South America, if you don't study it, you can easily jump to conclusions which at least are a little bit superficial. So for me, I like to study history, especially when you deal with peace. You have to know some kind of history, because the problems of war and conflict relate a lot to history. Interesting also, like for me, because I like crime stories. Yeah, crime stories they transport a lot of contents about the problems of certain society. For example, read a Chinese crime story, or an Italian or an American. You learn something about these nations. Yeah, this is why I like to read crime stories. Yeah. Uh, to come to a conclusion, I think as a peace organization, we should transport three things: truth, beauty, and goodness. At the end of the day, if we want to have peace, we need these elements. We need truth, means people who are not lying, people who speak what is what are the facts. Beauty, people like beauty. So I know from posting like in Facebook, if you have nice landscapes, flowers, and architecture, many people will like it. Yeah. If you write about a complicated story of a conflict, people will not read it. So pictures which are stimulating beauty, people like it. Yeah. And also, even goodness is maybe not so easily transported, yeah, because as we say, bad news are better than good news. But there was still one, and I want to finish with this story, which strike me, that this Sadio Mane, one of the new players of Bayern München, he got a special prize for like being a person, a soccer player who invests so much money for social projects, especially in his own village where he was born and in his country. So I think all these kind of stories still they touch the people, and because they touch the people, they created such a prize. Yeah. So I think for me, when I think of media, of transporting some news, these are issues which come into my mind. Thank you.